bare-knuckle boxers, gangsters, drug dealers. I mean, you wouldn't want to stay around theirs, would you? Well, guess what? I got an invite. I'm moving in with some of the country's most dangerous men, so we can find out how they sleep at night. And judging by this mob, there's gonna be tears before bedtime.
Britain is pissed and it's staggering about looking for a fight. Every weekend in town centres up and down the country, the streets are filled with drunks looking for trouble. And where can you see a lot of this binge drinking carnage? In Blackpool, on some of the northwest's toughest streets. I'm on my way there to spend a couple of days with a man on the front line on the war on binge. Not a copper, a bouncer. His name is Steve Sinclair, aka the Blackpool Rock. He's been done for GBH. He's been arrested for armed robbery. He's been arrested for contract killings, but none of it's ever stuck.
I've been shot at. I've got stab wounds, you know. I've had bricks thrown at me, bottles smashed on my head and in my face. I've been arrested for GBH with intent, firearms charges, bank robbery, even looked at for murders.
Turning the wrong way. I've never met a more fearless man.
A man with a love of fighting, Steve is dedicated to protecting the doors. In Blackpool, that can be a dangerous job. Now, I've never been before, but I know how rough it can get on a night out. What makes someone do it? What makes a man stand there and be a target for a group of drunken lads on a night out? You know, it's a dangerous game. I'm going to be living and breathing the life of one of Blackpool's most notorious faces, and to really get an idea of what it's like to be in his shoes, I'm going to be working the doors with him. Not acting, certainly not for fun, for real. You would think once you've seen one doorman, you've seen them all, really, you know. We've all come across doormen in our time. We've all had some sort of spat with a doorman, so, you know, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of doormen, that's all. I'm hoping this kid's gonna have something else about him. But like I said, you never fucking know. We're meeting on the Golden Mile. It's very different to what I was expecting. It's quiet and a little unnerving. Maybe everyone's still in bed. It's always weird, these seaside towns as well, when it's off-season, you know, when it's just the calm before the storm, I suppose, because there's nothing worse than fairground rides and candy floss machines. No one's here, no one's on them. It's just depressing, you know what I mean? Even the seagulls look like they've got a fucking hump. Got to be a minute, it's a Range Rover in Blackpool. Can't be many of them about. Steve.
Hiya, mate, how are you? Danny?
Very well, sunshine.
Nice to meet you, son.
Pleasure to meet you, mate. Thank you for talking to me.
How are you?
Listen, so Blackpool.
Yes.
Never been before.
Right.
I've heard it's a bit of a rough town when it wants to be.
Yeah,
true.
It can be, yeah, very much so.
Look, listen, I'm in your hands. I'll run around with you for a couple of days, try and get a taste of your life.
No worries.
How do you feel about me going on the door? Do you think I got the presents for it? What are you reckon?
Yeah.
Hey? He doesn't seem convinced. I'm sure you're going to look after me, yeah? You want to take me on a little mission then?
Tomorrow, I'll put you on the job. I've got a stab-proof vest for you and everything. Because
stab-proof vest, okay.
Right, you can be all right with that.
Well, no,
it can be a bit tricky, so.
Right, well, I'm in your hands, you know. The last thing I want to do is get stabbed. I want to make a nice show.
You've got a vest on, you won't, will you?
No, okay, no, sweet as. I mean, I'm sweet, let's go, let's do it.
All right, Paul.
Steve's been working the doors for 30 years in a town that takes no prisoners.
What might make you the better man is you might be able to take it a bit more than they can.
For a big man, very fast, and got a hell of a punch.
Boxing is his first love and he'll take on anyone. He once fought boxing legend Sugar Ray Leonard. This guy is a force to be reckoned with.
When he wants to go, there's not a man that I'd put against him.
He's a man with a reputation for never backing down and a taste for revenge.
If it kicked off at the club big style and if any of my lads got hurt, I'd be out in the car going round to their house waiting at 6 o'clock in the morning, knocking on the door. Surprise.
Blackpool is now the unofficial capital of booze Britain. 50 years ago, it was the destination of choice for the fashionable and the wealthy. Today, things are very different. Blackpool's A&E department is the busiest in the country. Personal assaults occur here at twice the UK average. During the summer, there's an influx of young people, some of whom come looking for trouble. To understand Steve's world, he's taking me on the door in a couple of nights' time. I want to know what makes this town in particular so dangerous. Tell me a little bit about, the doors here. Are they pretty dangerous here?
You've got to remember, we get people from all over the country coming here.
Yeah.
They're having the weekends, they're having the stag parties,
Yeah.
the trips, whatever. And they come from London, Liverpool, Manchester. And obviously, a lot of the times they think, oh, big I am.
I suppose it's the cocaine in it. And
The cocaine now, which is one of the main things that people use. Obviously, people get the cocaine rage. Then there's steroids as well.
Get a bit
All
brave,
the
don't
young
they?
kids are wearing using steroids.
Are they?
Yeah, I mean, you see them pumped up. All you have to do is look at them. And if they're using cocaine, they're drinking alcohol, taking steroids. They're dangerous.
I don't like the sound of what's ahead of me, but Steve seems like a confident man. I'm just not sure if behind this softly spoken exterior is a friendly old guy or a man with a dark past. I guess I got a couple of days to find out. Coming up, I learned something about Steve that I didn't want to know.
Police actually came and gave me a written death threat about 6 weeks ago.
And he shows me some of his family heirlooms. I knew there'd be something going on. I'm in Blackpool, the capital of booze Britain, with Steve Sinclair, one of Britain's toughest bouncers. I'm living with him for the next few days to try and get under his skin. I know that Blackpool likes a drunken tear-up, and Steve's told me that the young people here are not only pissed, but also on a cocktail of drugs.
They're using cocaine, they're drinking alcohol, taking steroids. They're dangerous.
Steve's taking me to town so I can get to know him better. The first thing I want to find out from him is what it takes to be a modern doorman. And from what he tells me, it's clear that Steve likes to get involved in more than just door work.
A few years ago, we had trouble with Middleton lot from Manchester.
Middleton is one of the most deprived areas in Manchester, where drug dealing and organised crime is a major problem. And Blackpool is a hub for the gangs from the northwest to come and do business.
You're talking 60 to 100, crew.
All up for it.
All carrying knives, machetes, things like that.
Yeah.
One of my pals, Sharpie, he gave one of them a slap, stopped them dealing in the club. And the next weekend, they all turned up, didn't they? So.
Oh, okay.
They ended up, they turned up for Sharpie, but we ended up tooling up ourselves, but with good shooters, to back them off.
I thought being a doorman was all about checking IDs and kicking out drunks. What Steve's talking about sounds like armed turf war. For me, it sounds like it's just like a nightmare. It's just the idea of people knowing where you are. People that want to cause trouble, people you might have a bit of trouble with, know exactly where you're going to be every night on the door, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they can always come back and find you. Is your mentality as a doorman, is it clump them, give them a clump first, or is that the last option for you?
I always liked going in against odds.
Oh, really?
You
like going up against 5-10 people?
Yeah, you feel better, yeah.
I take some bollocks to want to go up against 10 geezers, It's like, if you're thinking in your mentality, you're only going to come out a winner because you've got your game enough.
They get in each other's way, Denny. If you're literally
If you could pick them off one by one, you've got to be composed though in that.
You put me and you in a group of 10 of them now.
Yeah.
We could stand back to back.
Yeah.
And they've got to come at us.
Yeah, one at a time.
And you know that if you're banging, you're hitting them. But they can be hitting each other, kicking each other's legs, each other's ways.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. It's about composure, I suppose, isn't it? And not having that element of fear. I'm agreeing with him, but if it come on top, I'd probably have it on my toes.
I'll never back away from confrontation, even if I'm well outnumbered. It's a pride thing that I'd rather get a good hiding.
Steve's fearless attitude has meant that he'll take on anyone, whatever the odds, even if they're tooled up. So it's no surprise that he's had the odd close call. One night on the door, he took on 20 boys from Preston, a fight that almost sent him to an early grave.
I've got here and I've just started feeling all weak and dizzy. And I've looked down and my leg was red. So when I pulled my jacket back, it's from there, and that's...
Let's have a look.
You see the puncture wound?
So it was just, I mean, you can't really remember, but it was just obviously a little slippery bump.
Never felt it, never even felt it. Got to the hospital, there's a queue. So I'm stood in the queue like that. I've got my elbow tucked in, holding it, and waited 5-10 minutes. I've got to the front, and then she said, "What's the problem?" I said, "I've been stabbed." She said, "Where?" So I've gone like that, and blood spurted out onto her desk. And she started screaming. Anyway, they reckon I'd lost about 3 to 4 pints.
Okay, what's your initial reaction to that? Is it anger, or is it a bit like, right, I've had a let off, because it could have been a lot worse? But you can't wait to get back out on the door, is that what it is?
No, 2 weeks later, I was in hospital for 9 days. 2 weeks later, I was back on the door.
You couldn't wait to get back on the door, yeah?
You have to prove something to yourself.
Steve tells some scary stories, but he seems like a nice bloke. He even looks a bit cuddly. I guess appearances can be deceptive. I really do feel that you could think that you could get one over on him, and I think that would be a big mistake. That's just from my initial reaction. And I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot more about him, and I'm sure there is a bit of a vicious side to him. But initial reaction's a bit of a shock, really. It's sort of like your dad way about him, but a bit of a naughty dad. Steve comes from a criminal background. His dad was a crook, and his mum didn't want him following in his father's footsteps.
Well, I was born in just outside Manchester, Ashton-under-Lyne. My dad was in jail for a lot because he was, like ex-villain. Well, he was a villain, in Manchester. And my mother turned around and said, "If you go back in jail, that's it, we're finished." So they wanted a fresh start, and they moved to Portsmouth.
It wasn't long before Steve was attracted to the football terraces of Portsmouth FC, but he wasn't there to watch the game.
I mean, it's something that never interested me, actually, football, But I got him a group of lads, my pals, and we'd go to the match and it'd kick off. And at the end of the match, I still wouldn't know who'd won.
They were the Emsworth boys, and Steve was gaining a reputation as a fearless fighter. He started to get grief from the old Bill, so began boxing to channel his energy.
Started looking at boxing because I was getting in trouble in street fighting, and my dad turned around to me and he said, "You're either going to end up in trouble, banged up," because that's what he'd done in his past. So he talked me into it.
With little work around the south coast, Steve ended up joining the crew of the QE2 as a waiter, where he travelled the world, honing his fighting skills below deck. When he returned, he moved to Blackpool, where he was an outsider and began to make a name for himself.
I started working the doors to obviously make friends, get to know people a bit easier. A few incidents happened, the police came, and I'd get arrested, get off, get out, and that's how it started.
It doesn't matter who or how many there are, you'd rather go to the floor and be battered than back down.
We're off to Steve's local to meet a couple of his mates where I want to find out more about him. But as we head over there, we get word that there's been some trouble.
The pubs have just actually been turned over by a load of armed police. So obviously nothing to do with us, so we're all right there.
Well, thank fuck for that.
They were looking for somebody else who drinks in there, and he's not there, so they've gone.
All right, okay.
Unless they're after your autograph, of course, but we'll see.
I'd rather they nick me, to be honest with you, than giving old Bill autographs. Armed police looking for a regular, lovely. Christ knows what this place is going to be like.
What do you want?
I'd like, do you know what? I'd like a nice, I think I'll have a nice pint of lager.
Sit yourself down.
Break the mould a little bit, you know what I mean? Try something a bit different. As Steve sorts me out a drink, I try and get settled in. I'm all right. I've got the pool cue there, in case it comes on top. I'm joking, why am I even saying that? If it goes off, I'm out the door, mate. It's always weird, this, when you're walking with a boozer. Camera in my boat. You know, I'm making a film, you know what I mean? It's always like, I always feel a bit like uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, pal.
Thank you very much, Steve. Lovely job.
Cheers, mate. All the best. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Steve's very accommodating, but I'm feeling a bit out of my depth here. What, you any good at the old... While we wait for his mates to arrive, he challenges me to a game of pool. Right. I don't know whether to take it easy on him, you know? I don't want to whip his arse, it's a bit embarrassing. I'm never going to beat Steve in a fight, but I reckon I can have him at pool. I feel like every eye in the pub is on me. I think the word's out that I'm in town, and it's putting me off my game. Typical bouncer. He won't let it slide. Bollocks. Well, I shoot off anyway. We had a good day. It's been a lovely day, Steve. Mine, there you go, yeah? See you later. We've been having a laugh for the last half hour. But when Steve's mates arrive, the mood turns serious. Pleasure to meet you, boys. Thanks for coming over to see me. Paul, the man on my right, told me how he got into a load of trouble when a punter pulled a knife on him.
Put his hand in his pocket, took his glasses off, and he put his fucking throat. So I hit him and he died.
Really? It was a one punch, was it?
One punch.
Totally. Oh, okay.
It's easy, I regret it, don't get it. I think about it every day.
No, of course, I can imagine. But just it seems that one punch just absolutely ironed him out, yeah.
It's one of them things that happens to all of us. We've all had it. We've all had people on life support machines. And it's not a case of using too much force.
Oh, what you mean from people that you've hit?
Yeah, but all it is like you bang the guy, he could have thrown 4 or 5 shots at you. And you moved away, boom, down, he's banged his head, he's dead.
I said earlier that you could easily underestimate this man. And I think I just have. These guys speak about hurting people like they're talking about the weather. It's disturbing. But what I'm about to hear really worries me.
The police actually came and gave me a written death threat about 6 weeks ago. Said my life was...
Because when the police get there, they've got to tell you, innit?
No, but they've come and given me in writing. But they said, the threat is imminent. And they said, can we do anything to help you? And I said, well, yeah. I said, tell me who's fucking give you the... Oh, no, we can't do that. So if they told me who'd give me the death threat, I could sort it out myself.
Well, so they know who it is, but they're just saying, right, well, basically, you got a death threat. Apparently it's imminent. See you later. There you go.
They're bringing it up to like rubbing your wound.
They're trying to get you to do something. They're trying to get me to go over and do somebody to nick me. But if we pull the wrong people, we get somebody who's we get nicked.
Steve's obviously hurt a few people. They want revenge. And it's making me worry about staying at his tonight. I'm happy to do a few pictures and autographs, but behind the smiles, I'm concerned. I'm a bit freaked out by the idea of me sleeping around his house, right? And he's telling me he's got a death threat and it's imminent. So, you know, it's made me a bit paranoid. I don't know whether I want to stay around his house or not. I've got to think about myself. I've got to think about the fact I've got 2 kids, you know what I mean? Do I want to be putting myself in that situation? You know, the other thing I've got to worry about, obviously, is, you know, I don't want to upset the geezer, you know, and the fact that he's inviting me around his house, he's going to let me stay, but, for me to go, no, I don't want to stay, it's just something I'm going to have to deal with later on, you know? But you know, other than that, I think he's a lovely geezer. But fucking death threats, you know what I mean? I don't need it. Death threats aside, I'm keen to get to Steve's house and meet the family. I just hope they're not as intimidating as the guys I met in the pub.
This is my humble abode, so...
Nice little plot. It's a nice area though, because it's interesting that you're just a couple of minutes down the road, you're away from all the nuttiness, isn't you?
Yeah, yeah.
When I step into Steve's house, I'm introduced to the family. Christy, his youngest, Kelly, the eldest, and Tani, his wife of 27 years. This is definitely not what I was expecting. Once I've met everyone, Steve goes to get changed, and I have a chat with his girls. I want to know who the real Steve Sinclair is.
But his first attitude isn't to slap somebody straight.
No.
You know, he'll talk it and everything, and they just go that little bit too far.
Of course she's going to say that. She's his wife.
And what's it like for you two with boyfriends?
Basically, they just find out you're Sinclair's daughter, they're like either do a runner or
Really?
a bit scared.
So he's got that reputation.
The telling you that introduce you to the friends is instead of saying, oh, this is my girlfriend Kelly or this is my girlfriend Christy, it's, oh, this is my girlfriend Steve Sinclair's daughter.
Oh, okay, he's gone for the casual look. After a brief chat, Steve's back, and he takes me to see where I'll be spending the night. Oh, it's lovely. What, I don't know what it's like. It's very, very cottagey, Steve.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, it's...
Quite cottagey, you know?
The woman's touch, isn't it? Oh.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
nice view of
oh,
it.
actually, no Yorkies, not a Yorkie in sight.
Yeah, hold on, what's that? Oh, look.
Oh, no, yeah. I knew there'd be one. I knew there'd be one knocking about. There had to be one. If I play up later, I'll end up in that cupboard, I suppose, will I?
Yeah, it's one of the... I'm a strong believer in the woman runs the home. She has it as she likes it.
Steve's old school. You wouldn't catch him doing the ironing, but he's still house proud. Who's this? Just a random picture?
Random picture, yeah.
Another Yorkie in here, I noticed. Everywhere you turn, Yorkies, look. I like the art you've got going on.
Yeah, he's dead now, the artist.
I'm loving all this.
Friend of ours, he was good.
What's his name? Lawrence?
Larry Rushton.
Larry Rushton. Brilliant, isn't he? Steve's got a few old things, but not the kind of stuff you'll see on the Antiques Roadshow.
It just pulls out like...
Yeah, I knew it. I knew there'd be something going on. That's a lovely little stick you got there.
Just a little boy. You have to slot it in properly.
I know how to slot things in, Steve. I know how to slot things in.
So somebody comes calling.
Oh, okay, so you can keep that at the door, just in case.
If anyone comes knocking, I'll knock back.
Well, they won't be knocking again, will they?
No.
Well, they certainly won't be knocking with their fucking hands. Okay. Steve's place is a cosy family home, but that hammer by the door really brings back to me his other life outside the house. So far, it's been a strange day for me. As we sit down for dinner, I'm thinking about all I've seen and heard. The beatings, the stabbing, the death threat, the hammer. I'm trying to put on a brave face. Everyone around the table is relaxed, except me. Coming up, I discover how Steve's reputation brought violence to his front door.
There's a geezer there, like that.
On his own?
Yeah, on his own.
And I'll transform myself into Danny the doorman. I'm staying in Blackpool with Steve Sinclair, a bouncer not to be messed with. He's been stabbed, beaten and shot at. He's pissed off a lot of people. Now he has a contract out on his life. I'm at his place and I've just had a nice bit of Lancashire hot pot, but I'm getting worried about a possible attack. No, none of that. Oh, hello, come here. Hello, you ever seen a Cockney before? Never seen a Cockney, have you?
Say hello to Danny.
As I'm bonding with Steve's 4 Yorkshire Terriers, he puts on an extraordinary video. I've been told he was fearless, and he proves it by showing me an exhibition boxing match between himself and Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean, how are you feeling there? Can you remember, Steve? I mean,
nervous.
Very
nervous, yeah. I was getting like that. I'm thinking, fucking hell. I'm saying, oh, shit. Best experiences of my life in the sport, like sporting sense, I mean, it ranks up very high with having my daughters and things like that,
At the time, Steve, an amateur boxer, was working as a waiter on the QE2. Sugar Ray was a passenger, and then welterweight boxing champion of the world. Originally, the fight was meant to be a bit of fun. The champ had had a recent eye operation, and Steve was warned to be a bit careful. But his competitive spirit got the better of him.
Started increasing my punching power to his body, and I was lifting him off the ground with some shots. Didn't faze him at all. And then he's moved around, bam, and I hit him, got him right in the eye. You know, his head's gone back.
What had originally meant to be a bit of fun suddenly turned nasty when the champ decided to teach the amateur a lesson.
He says to me then, he said, "Are you all right?" I went, "Yeah." He says, "You're not now." 3 shots, same place. Yeah.
He said, "You're all right?" You went, "Yeah." And then he, fucking hell, what a liberty. How was that shot, Steve? Can you remember the feel at the force of that shot?
Every time I watch it, I feel it. Just took my breath away completely. They're lifting me up here. They're saying to me, "Breathe, breathe." I said, "I'm trying."
Proper punch to the rib.
No, it's horrible, isn't it?
Well, listen, what's his number? I'll make the call. I'll make the call. Steve is willing to take on anyone, but I wonder, is this fearlessness or recklessness? Could this have led to his death threat? And this threat became very real a few weeks ago when someone tried to kick his door in the middle of the night.
There's a geezer there, right, and he had a hoodie up and all that. And after that, "Fuck you, yo." And I'm trying to open the door, but it buckled the door, so I couldn't get through.
Your initial reaction is to get out there and fucking do him. On his own? Or
Yeah,
you don't know?
On his own. So obviously, to me, the geezer's either carrying something or waiting for me. If I'd have turned the lights on inside, it'd see through the glass. So he might have had a pop, you know.
Good call. Yeah. So I would say that anyone who's going to come to your fucking door, yeah, it's going to have something back, but they're not going to come with their bare hands, are they? Right, I've made up my mind. You know what's really freaked me out is this whole death threat thing, right? For me, it's a massive thing.
Right.
Now, for me to stay here, you know, and I'm sure, and I know nothing will happen, really. I don't know, you never quite know, but you've invited me in your house, you know, you've got a bed upstairs, you've laid it all on for me. But yet it's that letter from the old Bill. It's from the fucking old Bill. Just for my own peace of mind, I'm going to go stay at an hotel, and I'll come back in the morning. You all right if I come back here and have a bit of breakfast with you, maybe?
Of course, yeah.
Is that okay?
About 8 o'clock, something like that.
Thanks, Steve. I really appreciate it, mate. See you later. I feel bad, but I think I've made the right decision. I think I've learnt a lot about Steve today. I've seen his soft side and had a brief glimpse of the nasty side as well. But the contract on his life has freaked me out. I know it's unlikely anything's going to happen, but it might. And I'm not prepared to take the risk. I'm very glad to be heading to a hotel. It's not my death threat at the end of the day, it's his death threat. You know? It's not my fucking problem. Why shouldn't I put myself on the front line for it? This might be a selfish thing to say, but that's the reality. End of. It's the next morning, and I'm going on the door tonight with Steve to see how he operates and why he does it. So I'm up early to get some last-minute advice over breakfast before he goes to work. And sitting in his kitchen, he tells me some of the rules that he lives by.
If you start thinking to yourself, "Oh, fucking hell, I might get hurt or I might end up in hospital," or, you know, it's a case of...
The idea of controlling.
I think, how many of them can I hurt before they hurt me? You know, I mean, one of my tricks used to be years ago, I mean, I'd grip somebody and I'd put the nose in my mouth and break the nose with my teeth. You know, and rather than not bite the nose off, just get it, and you hear the gristle go and crack.
Just while I'm eating a bit of bacon as well. It's not exactly the advice I was looking for. I don't fancy biting someone's nose off. It does intrigue me to see, you know, what would happen if it does go off with you, and I'm sure that everything about you changes totally.
The eyes change.
New thing, a whole new beast.
They always say to me, the first thing they go, your eyes just change and looking, you know, like one in focus, and that's it.
And once you've gone, you've gone.
Yeah.
This is the thing that I just, you know, I find it really struggle to see it, you know, because I just think you're such a lovely geezer, you know?
Well, we'll see. I mean, hopefully nothing will happen tonight, but, you know, if it does, there's always a possibility.
Of course. Steve is off to his day job training the next generation of doormen. So I take some time to myself. In Blackpool at this time of year, that's not a problem. Now I need to focus. I'm going on the door later and in disguise so I don't get spotted. I just hope some of Steve's reputation rubs off on me. After all I've heard about Blackpool, I hope it don't kick off. It's time for me to get my head in the game and sort myself out for tonight. I like the whistle. Now I've got the suit, I'm heading back to Steve's to get into makeup and finish off my doorman look. Right. Mug. Right. Been waiting around all day. Tension's building now. I just want to get on the door and I want to experience it. So, you know, the time's come for me to start getting into my disguise. I've been told it's going to take a couple of hours. I just hope this works. If I'm spotted tonight, I won't be able to work the door and see Steve in action. Simon Jordan, eat your heart out. You would never think it's me, but I'm meant to be a doorman. Look at me. I look like I should be sitting in a fucking library. I actually look quite clever, I like that. I look like one brainy fucker. I look like someone who's... I look like I write a number bod. Now to see what Steve thinks of the transformation. I know I look about as intimidating as that cushion, all right? But I'm not meant to really be intimidating. Just first impressions. What do you reckon? Okay, I'll take that as to say no more. Okay. And then for the serious doorman's kit. Stab vest, high vis jacket, and some last-minute advice. Any tips, anything I should look out for, Steve, tonight?
Yeah, I mean, keep your eyes on me, you know, keep that zipped, because as soon as you open that, people will suss you. But, you know, look as if you're alert, vigilant, you know.
I think with me, they'll think, I'm going to whip a calculator out or something when you mean. All right, no, listen, I know I'm in good hands, sunshine, don't worry, I'm with you.
Now we're in town, the tension is building. It's St George's Day, and tonight, Blackpool might be up for a fight. It's Thursday night. I mean, I would have thought that the nightlife's pretty lively here anyway, but what sort of crowd are we expecting tonight, you think?
Stag parties out, or even your work dues or anything, so.
Yep, you never quite know, do you?
No.
You never know, do you, Steve? I suppose that's what it is. And that's what I'm worried about. Tonight, anything could happen. But before I hit the door, I want to see if this disguise is going to work.
I've just got to the first place. This is the sort of the test. See if anyone recognises me before we go into the club. So I'm hoping this is going to work without the glasses. I'm just going to keep my fucking mouth shut, keep my head down and walk in the gaff.
After my pool game and meeting all the fans yesterday in the pub, I just hope I haven't blown it. I'm meant to be undercover, but in this luminous gear, I'm not feeling very inconspicuous. Shit, I've been recognised, bollocks. Time for a rethink. Fuck. Shit, it's not working. Really don't know what to do. I need another test, really. I don't know whether because I walked in with the cameras that's made it a bit obvious. I don't know. I just don't want to wear these, but I think I'm going to have to. I mean, I just feel like a twat, mate. Let's try and put these on. Do you know what I mean? I'm a fucking idiot. I think I'm going to have to try them on. I think my worst nightmare is people recognise me, and I don't want that, you know. I think I might just try and walk in a kebab shop, chip shop. Just try it again, see what happens. So I think I'm going to have to go through with it anyway, you know. I really need to experience this whole diamond thing. I want to try and see Steve in action. just put me on a bit of a downer that because I really thought it was going to work, and you know, it's a lot of hard work from a lot of people. And as soon as I walk in a booth, it's Danny Dyer, it's Danny Dyer. Fuck me, how's this Danny Dyer? Not Danny Dyer. Well, it is Danny Dyer, but it ain't. Let's go and try another test. With a hidden camera on me, I step out into the street to give it another go. I really want to experience working on the door, but if this doesn't work, I don't think I really understand what's made Steve so fearless. Result. That was good, I got away with it.
Staying good in here.
It all seems to be working really well. I'm made up until my producer overhears something.
You hear that?
What?
Danny Dyers going to be in the syndicate tonight. Did you not hear that?
No. Now it's obvious that everyone in town knows where I'm going to be tonight, and I can hear people talking about me.
He's been in...
Very interesting. People slagging me off. Very strange. I felt angry. I'm glad to be back in the car with Steve. I walked down that alley. Nobody recognised me. I was getting a few funny looks because I looked like a twat, but it was interesting because I heard a couple of geezers slagging me off outside a pub. Saying, Danny Dyer, fuck Danny Dyer, this, that, and the other. Weird feelings. I'm 2 foot away. So now we're going to move on now, and we're going to go to the club now. Now, I also walked past a few birds who were going, I think Danny Dyer's down the syndicate tonight, which freaked me out because I thought, OK, word's got out. But they're not going to be expecting me to be like this, I'm hoping, you know what I mean? So, coming up, I head out onto the door with Steve and find out what it's like to be on the front line. I've been knocking around with Blackpool's toughest bouncer for the past couple of days to try and understand what this guy is all about. I'm in disguise so I can spend the night on the doors of one of Blackpool's busiest clubs to experience what it's like being a bouncer. But I've just found out that the whole of Blackpool knows I'm going to be there. Strange feeling because I just don't know how it's going to go, really. I want everything to pan out nicely. I want to just, you know, just be a shadow, really. Just don't know what's going to happen. We're out of the car and walking up to the door. Now I'm feeling a bit digi. It's a big fucking club, isn't it? The Syndicate is the biggest club in Blackpool and one of the largest in the UK. It holds 4,000 people and has over 40 door staff. With all these people, I just hope there's no trouble tonight. As I head through the cordon, the other doormen don't bat an eyelid. How are you, lads? All right, good man, yeah? I'm relieved. It means I can just concentrate on the job. Once we're on the door, I take a back seat so I can observe Steve. He's looking for troublemakers, drunks, and the underage chancers. As the place starts to get busy, my nerves begin to kick in. Steve's in his element. He's very relaxed. I guess for him, this is very quiet. What's interesting though, Steve, I mean, do you prefer it quiet like this? I mean, it's easier for it's an easier night, but I think you want to...
Yeah, it's boring.
Boring though, yeah, can imagine.
Obviously, when you've got nice people coming in, it's great evening. When you've got dickheads after dickheads, it can get to you a bit.
Sometimes you get nights where an hour just dickheads coming through the door, just like, oh, it's one of them nights, is it? If we can weed out the dickheads, as he puts it, then everyone inside will have a good night.
If you're looking after the club, that's what the idea should be. You're looking after the people. You know, if I'm looking after you and somebody comes and twats you and I haven't done my job properly, you know, they've caused a problem for me, so I'll go and cause a problem for them.
How many are you expecting in tonight, lads? Hello, I'm John. I reckon we're around about 12
Steve then pushes me into facing the punters and checking their IDs. This is the front line. If I refuse someone, I imagine it could escalate rather quickly, especially with this mob. Good looking boy.
Thank you.
So far it's all working well, and the confidence of the other bouncers is helping me along.
Got my haircut since then. Yeah. When did you get it?
It's getting busier, and there were some lads at the back that might have spotted me.
I think it's going to come on top here. I just think I'm going to get clocked to see what happens.
I was right, and there's 4 of them.
Here's a picture here. You've been caught out, mate. You've been caught out.
They surround me. Thankfully, they're armed with cameras and not bottles.
You don't get a picture if you know.
I mean, that was nothing. It wasn't even a scuffle. What if those lads had fancied a tear-up? You're a target out here, and the violence can come from anywhere.
The worst time, the closing time, when they're all kicking out on the streets.
And they're all fucked. They'll get a bit brave, and someone's been looking at someone's bird, and someone, But then I suppose it's not your job then, is it? You just got to stand there, and everything else, obviously, being a gentleman, if it does come on top, you've done it before, you'll get involved. But actually, you've got to let them do it, haven't you? You can't fight every battle in Blackpool, mate.
At the end of the night, you don't want to be getting locked up or, it's over as far as you're concerned.
Of course.
Standing here at the front of the club, I feel exposed. If someone's looking to cause trouble, they know where to find you. A problem Steve knows all too well.
The modern doorman is still a target. I mean, a group of kids will get together, let's go to so-and-so and do the doorman. Because it's a good night out.
I think the strange thing is for Steve is he prefers it busy, he prefers that element of danger, he can't stand it when it's quiet. Speaking to a couple of the other bouncers as well, they're the same, they don't like it quiet, it's boring. They want that element of, it's going to kick off any minute, which surprises me, because I would think it's easy though to just stand there and do fuck all. It's been a good night, and I've learned a little of what it takes to be a doorman. Fearlessness, confidence, qualities Steve has in abundance.
I'd like to think I've done a good job. Steve, did I do a good job, sweetheart?
If I was still grafting the doors myself when you came to meet him, any chance?
Just about the hair doing that hat though.
Yeah, I'd have you.
I think, you know what, I've enjoyed spending time with you, Steve. I think you're a fascinating person. I think what's fascinating about you is that I think you could be easily underestimated just because of your manner. The way you are, you've got a face, you're quite an approachable person, and I think that's where people come unstuck with you. I think that I think you made the point about, you've got to be nice first, keep something back.
I've had a small glimpse of Steve's life. It's an interesting but dangerous one. I came here with a preconceived view on bouncers. I thought they were just thugs who stopped you enjoying yourself. What I've learned is if you've had a good night out, it's because the doormen have done a good job. I never got a chance to see how Steve deals with trouble, which I wish I could have seen. He's a gentleman, but he leaves me in no doubt that he can turn it on when he wants to.
Your family comes first, always have. But I still like to enjoy myself, have a nice time. I'd like to go on holidays, I like to drive a nice car. So, but as it is at the moment, I'm doing it all legally. But, still got the balaclava.
I'm going to be living with Bernard Mahoney, a man whose life has revolved around crime and violence.
I was done for robbery, lots and lots of grievous bodily harms.
His CV reads like a character from a carnage-ridden road movie. Soldier in Northern Ireland, football hooligan in London, gun-toting doorman in Johannesburg.
Another decade of fucking madness, really, with gangs, stabbings, shootings.
But overshadowing all of this is his association and acrimonious split from the infamous gangsters known as the Essex Boys.
That's when my phone started ringing, we're gonna fucking shoot you, we're gonna fucking do you.
The Essex grapevine still buzzes with rumour and hearsay about them. And as I approach this journey, thoughts cloud my mind. I've been hearing things. People have told me that Bernard isn't all that he claims to be.
And the weird thing for me is, for the first time, I've been getting phone calls about this guy. I'm being told things, he's a grass, he's a fake, he's living on the back of this, this idea of the Essex Boys and, bad reviews really. So you know, it's not healthy for me really to be going to meet this guy with this stuff going on in my mind. So I've got to take him at face value. I've got to give the guy a shot, but you know, I'm getting sort of negative thoughts before I've even met him, and that's a weird, strange feeling, you know. I don't like going to work this way, you know. I'd rather just not know anything.
I'm meeting Bernard in a field in the middle of the English countryside.
What a beautiful day. One absolutely stunningly beautiful day in the middle of a beautiful forest. You know, on a nice hike, bit of rambling, and then you come across this. Fucking hell. You gonna be all right with that, son?
Yeah, how you doing?
How are you, mate?
Hang on.
Oi.
All right, Danny, good to meet you, mate.
Good to meet you, son. So what's happening here then? What's this? You got some sort of photo shoot going on here or what?
Yeah.
What's it in aid of?
We're doing a photo shoot for a book, Faces, which is like real-life photos of villains, basically, you know what I mean?
Judging by some of the subjects featured in the book, Bernard seems well connected to the criminal underworld. Accompanying Bernard on the shoot is a strangely macabre piece of British crime history. In this Range Rover, on a cold December night, 3 men were shot dead. The killings of Tony Tucker, Craig Rolfe and Pat Tate have become infamous as the Essex Boys murders.
Well, okay, well, so is this the actual motor?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's a strange feeling to think that, you know, 3 men were shot to death in this car.
Bizarrely, despite once being a crime scene, this car was sold at a police auction. Bernard's borrowed it for the shoot.
A bit weird though why someone would want the motor, do you know what I mean? I'm spin about in this, do you? Pick your nan up, take her out with a bit of lunch. It has got an eerie feel to it though, there's no two ways about that. Quite a full-on first meet though, I must say. Straight in, no fucking about.
It all feels odd, a bit like being in some kind of gangster theme park. I can't help wondering how deeply involved with the Essex Boys Bernard really was. Is all the stuff I've been told about him true? Is he just a bit of a wannabe?
I mean, how much did you have to do with these people then? I mean, was you...
Oh, he was my partner.
Who was your partner then?
Tucker.
Tony Tucker ran the security for a string of nightclubs, including Raquel's in Basildon, where Bernard worked.
I run the door for him, and he was just supplied the drugs in the club, basically.
But Bernard's certainly not mourning his former associates.
There were 3 bullies who got what was coming to them, really, and it was just a case of not are they going to get shot, who's going to fucking shoot them first,
Really?
You know what I mean?
So there's people queuing up really to wind them out, yeah?
Yeah. When they got shot, I didn't, not one fucking bit surprised. Not one bit surprised. I knew it was coming. I couldn't believe they couldn't see it coming, because every other fucker could, do you know what I mean?
I'm not sure what to make of all this. Shotguns and a motor in which 3 gangsters were killed. I was unsure about Bernard before I came, and so far nothing has made me think otherwise. I still don't know much about him. I'm going to have to dig deeper and find out to make up my own mind. Coming up, things get weird as Bernard shows me his letters from a psychopath.
It's Peter Sackler's handwriting.
And the plot thickens with Bernard and the Essex Boys.
I've got to ask you, Bernard, I mean, it's almost as if you're standing there watching it happen.
I'm spending a few days with Bernard Mahoney, a man whose life has revolved around violence and crime.
I personally don't think I was a very violent person. My victims would argue that I am.
I'm not quite sure what to make of him. He tells me he's a former associate of the infamous Essex Boys. And he's even been using the Range Rover they were shot in for a photo shoot for his book.
It has got an eerie feel to it.
But I've been told that he's a grass and is someone not to be trusted. We've headed back to Bernard's house, where I'm hoping to find some clues that can tell me more about him. I have a nose in his study. He has a strange mix of mementos and souvenirs that he's collected down the years.
I do my work here.
Well, I've got to say, straight away, Rolling Stones, massive fan myself.
In the 80s, he used to be the bodyguard of former Rolling Stones guitarist Mick Taylor. Mick's the one with the hair.
Any scrapes? I mean,
No, just deranged women, you know what I mean?
See, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad at all.
This led to other security work for a number of high-profile A-list celebrities.
Quite the odd thing for me, Bernard, is obviously, you know, you've got all these sort of, Rolling Stones, another great one of Mick Jagger there, and it's surrounded by these Batman pictures. Any idea why Batman? I mean, you've got Superman, you've got Spider-Man, you can go where you want with it, but
I don't know,
Batman just touched you in a way.
Yeah. I just always enjoyed it, you know what I mean? I always liked it, good versus evil, you know what I mean? The ultimate battle, innit?
Yeah.
I always just liked it, you know what I mean?
It's a bit of a mad mix of stuff. But then he shows me something that turns my stomach.
This is such a weird thing.
Bernard was once a pen pal of the Yorkshire Ripper, Peter Sutcliffe.
The murder victim was identified tonight as 20-year-old Jacqueline Hill, a student who had been living in the Headingley area of the city.
Sutcliffe murdered 13 women between 1975 to 1980. Although deemed sane at his trial, he was later sent to Broadmoor Psychiatric Hospital. It's one of the most surreal moments I've ever experienced. Here I am leafing through letter after letter written by one of Britain's most notorious serial killers.
And just look, I mean, it's Peter Sutcliffe's handwriting. Strange to just think that that's a man that has killed many people, you know, for many years. I have vastly changed from my attitude of 10 or 11 years ago. I was tragically misguided in those days about certain matters. I know that only too well. Oh, it's terrible. I feel ill reading it. Lots of love and fondest thoughts always, Peter. Fuck me.
But why on earth was Bernard writing to the Yorkshire Ripper? As he starts to explain it to me, the story becomes even stranger. Bernard got pally with the Ripper through his friendship with two of Britain's most infamous criminals, the Cray twins. After organising a charity boxing event, he became a regular visitor to both the Crays, which sparked an interest in Bernard from one of the tabloids.
A crime reporter at the News of the World got in touch with me and he just started talking generally to me and he was going, oh, you visit the Crays. And he said, do you ever see the Ripper when you're in Broadmoor? I said, yeah, I see him all the time. I said, he sits on the next visiting table. So he said, oh, if you ever get any stories on him, like, we're worth a lot of money. So I said, I see what? I said, I'll write to him just to prove he'll do it. So he went, go on then.
In order to gain the trust of the Ripper, Bernard adopted an alter ego. Meet 32-year-old barmaid Belinda Cannon.
Belinda. Quite imaginative, I must say.
You have to adopt the character of the person they're interested in, or the sex they're interested in. So I wrote to him as this Belinda Cannon. He wrote back, and he just, if I asked him what his favourite colour was, he told me. If I asked him why he killed prostitutes, he told me. And I have to admit, in the end, it became quite an amusing game in the end. And,
I can imagine. I mean,
after about 8 months, he proposed to me.
Unbelievable. I mean,
Bernard thought his letters would result in selling a story to the papers, but nothing came of it. He realised, however, that by this method, he could get detailed information from prisoners. He began writing to Richard Blenky, who was awaiting trial for the murder of a 7-year-old child.
and who Bernard believed was guilty.
Over a period of time, he wrote and told me in detail what had happened to this boy. And a week before the trial, I wrote to him. I said, look, I fucking know you lied. You did it, didn't you? And he wrote back, he went, yeah, I've done it. And I got in touch with the police, give him the letter. And they confronted him with the letter on the morning of the trial. And he's there to plead not guilty. And it's something that sticks with me. The boy's father said it was the best feeling in my life, he said, because I knew he was guilty. The police know he's guilty. To hear him stand there and say, yeah, I did it, he said it was like fucking... Yeah. And he can't appeal, can he?
No, of course not.
So it's a great... I do get a lot of pleasure out of it, yeah. It's a fucking great feeling.
Oh, what other people have you wrote to then?
Oh God, you name it. Ian Brady.
Brady's, yeah, Brady.
I became friends with Winnie Johnson, whose son Paul's still missing.
The boy that they never found, yeah.
And she suggested I speak to him, and I've been speaking to him now for 7 years, and I still speak to him now.
Nothing.
He ain't going nowhere.
He's been on a hunger strike for how long?
He's off his fucking trolley, you know what I mean?
He also tried to get a confession out of Ian Huntley before he went to trial. Ian Huntley?
I wrote to him for a long time. A vile fucking...
Oh, fucking disgusting,
Yeah.
I mean, they all are, to be fair, aren't they? What drives you to get up, make a stand, and go that deep into it? I mean, it takes a lot of fucking time, bollocks, fucks with your brain.
I despise people who hurt kids, you know what I mean? I fucking despise it. Some people, protest about the ozone layer. Some people ban the bomb, but me, anyone who hurts a child, anybody, I fucking despise them.
It's as if Bernard's trying to be like his hero, Batman, crusading for justice, for a different persona. I've never met anyone with such a strange and complex relationship with law and order. On the one hand, involved in a major drug scene with gangsters, and on the other, a pen-wielding vigilante, writing to some seriously disturbed individuals in an attempt to get what he sees as justice.
Scumbags have gone to prison, have never appealed, they're guilty, end of story. So there's a lot of satisfaction in that, do you know what I mean? But I just like turning the bastards over, you know what I mean?
Bernard lives in Birmingham with his partner, Roche. She's prepared us some dinner. As we chat over our meal, I try to find out where Bernard's vigilante streak comes from. The more we talk, the more he starts to open up to me about the extreme violence he experienced at home as a boy.
My old mum was a complete fucking horrible bastard. The things you used to do to my mother, like gas her and cut her and fucking do terrible things. It's a good example of this. Is on Mother's Day when I was at school. He picked up a plate and he's gone to my mother. Happy fucking Mother's Day, and smashed her fucking straight in the head with it.
After enduring years of violent abuse, Bernard and his elder brother decided to dish out their own justice.
Me and my brother attacked him, and my brother, we gave him a really good hiding, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the next day he left home.
So he come unstuck, you and your brother attacked him, and then he fucked off.
He left the next day and never see him again.
He couldn't show his fucking face.
Never showed him to see him again. He knew his day had come, you know what I mean? He knew his day had come. He wasn't a man, he was a mess, you know.
His life began gravitating towards crime.
I was just always in trouble. Always in trouble. I was done for robbery, 2 counts of robbery, affray, assaults, lots and lots of grievous bodily harms, 2 woundings. I was banned from every licensed premises in Staffordshire by the Crown Court.
In an attempt to avoid a prison sentence, Bernard joined the army. Again, he ended up surrounded by violence. This time in Northern Ireland.
And the locals are really good at fucking you up, you know what I mean? And you're looking all around, you think you're going to be attacked because there's noises, and it is real pressure in your mind, you know what I mean?
After 4 years' service for Queen and Country, he moved to London, where he signed up with a different kind of army. Attracted to the violence of football hooliganism, he started running about with a Millwall crew.
When violence occurred, and I was in their company, they'd think, fucking hell, like, Bernie can have a row, do you know what I mean? Suddenly you have these people who admire you because you're anti-establishment or anti-authority.
And you can hold your hands up and you're going.
Suddenly you think you become someone, which is a foolish thing to think, really. But because you're young and naive, you start to believe it. So the badder you are, the more people like you think in your head, the more of a following you have.
I can understand how Bernard gained a reputation for himself as a young man, but I can't help thinking about the things people have said to me about him. His name's not held in the highest regard, to say the least, by certain people connected to the Essex scene.
For me, before I've met you for the first time and anyone I've met, I'm getting bad vibes off people, telling me this, that and the other about you. Now, I've got to take people on face value at the end of the day.
Yeah, if I just stop you there, Danny, this is the crux of the problem. I don't give a fuck for no man or what he thinks of me. I'm my own man. But there are people who say, oh, he's this, he's that, and that. But I'm doing that book Faces, and I've got every top villain in the country's agreed to do it. So the people who tend to sit and talk shit about me are really the people who don't fucking matter, do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it, you know what I mean? When it comes to caring and sleepless nights, there is no one. There is no one.
Life's too fucking short, Bernard, don't worry about that. Life is too short, mate.
I'm starting to get an understanding of Bernard. He sees himself as a defender of the weak. From beating up his violent father as a young man, to writing letters that convict child killers he despises. It's all part of his own moral code. It's been a long old day. Bernard's a complex character. There's so much more I still need to find out. Crucially, I've not got to the bottom of his falling out with the Essex Boys. I want to find that out for myself and not rely on rumours and hearsay.
I've really learned you've got to just take people at face value. On a personal level, you know, I've gone into this thinking it's going to be, this case is going to be shit. He's going to be fake, he's going to be just a wannabe. And, you know, I couldn't have been any more wrong, really. He's not claiming to be a villain. That's what's interesting. He's clearly fascinated by that whole world. Some of the stuff he's been telling me has freaked me the fuck out. This whole idea of writing to people like Sutcliffe and Huntley and, you know, these paedophiles trying to get information out of them, and, you know, I mean, it's a fucking mad thing to do. But he's clearly done a bit of Bird, and I'd like to sort of delve into a bit of that tomorrow. You know, there's a lot more stuff going on. So, let me get my nut down. You know, I feel safe here, even though there's a lot of hate for this guy, but I feel safe here, I feel comfortable here, and, you know, we'll go over some stuff tomorrow, I think. I'm gonna have a lot to think about tonight.
Coming up, Bernard opens up about his violent past.
You're not like a doorman here. You have an handgun, you have a shotgun, all types of different weapons here.
And reveals how he incurred the wrath of the Essex Boys.
We're gonna fucking shoot you, we're gonna fucking do you.
I'm living with Bernard Mahoney, a man whose life has been a richly dangerous tapestry.
I mean, I've been stabbed 6 or 7 times, I mean.
It's been a strange one.
Fucking hell.
We met in a field with guns and a Range Rover, in which 3 of his former associates had been shot dead. Back at his house, he showed me his collection of letters to various psychopaths, as you do.
It's Peter Sutcliffe's handwriting.
It's the morning of my second day, and over a cup of tea, I have a chat with Bernard and his 30-year-old partner, Roche. There's a bit of an age difference, so I start with a bit of teasing.
She's a lovely young lady, Bernard. I can't help but notice she's a bit younger than you.
Is she?
A lot younger, you know. You've had a right result there.
Spent a lot of money, haven't we?
I wonder if Roche knows what she's getting into. Bernard's involvement in crime has resulted in him being threatened on several occasions. One example is this incident caught on CCTV. It shows Bernard being attacked with a pepper spray outside a nightclub. His response proved that he's not someone to be trifled with.
Do you ever worry about him, Bernard? Do you ever worry just because of
people who
the books he's wrote and the people he's upset? You know, which Bernard, you know, he takes it with a pinch of salt. But yourself, I mean, that's your man, isn't it? So
that phone call, I was a bit concerned of. But then again, and I'll think, well, he knows how to handle them sort of people. So in a sense, not really, because I know he can talk to them in the way they would expect him to. So
and you would know if he was worried.
You would get a feeling in anyway, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean? On something, and then I would say like, oh.
But no one's ever going to hurt you. Going to ring you up and warn you.
No.
Nah.
When
just
they ring
talk,
up, I
and
just
it's silly
go,
talk.
oh, another fool who's had too much coke.
And I think as well, if it was going to happen, and they're going to say it was going to happen, it would have already happened in anyway, wouldn't it?
Speaking to Bernard about this, I realise we have something in common. He's been called this, that and the other and judged by people who don't know him. It's something that I get from doing these shows. Well, it's this thing that I have to deal with, is this tough guy image, right? A hard man, you know, and this is what the press label you as, right? You know, it's always in my mind that someone's going to have a pop at me, you know, thinking that, look, I'm not a mug or nothing like that. I'm from Canning Town, but I've always swerved that life, you know? And so I always read things about me, and it's Danny Dyer in brackets, tough guy actor, which is complete bollocks. And it frustrates me, you know? I'm a sensitive soul. And I suppose making these shows don't help me at all, but the reason I do make these shows is to show a different side to me. Yeah. And I'm not giving it the big one. I mean, you know, when I met people like Paddy, you know, I felt like a little girl around him. You know, and I wasn't afraid to say that, you know. It's important that I try and get that across, you know. So
it doesn't matter what Mr. X thinks of me or this gang think of me. I don't go to bed worrying about him, do you know what I mean?
Despite the threats, they seem happy together, and they have one very good reason to look forward to the future. Roche is expecting a baby in 6 months. It will be Bernard's fourth. He has 2 sons and a daughter who are now grown up. How does it feel, the fact that you're going to have another child 32 years after the first time you had a child? I mean, I've got to say, I've got to hold my hands up to you. I'll raise my cup of tea to that. you know.
It doesn't matter what you do. Second time round, third time round, you can do things better. Do you know what I mean? And I look back at things I did bringing my own kids up, and I think, oh, you should have spent maybe more time. You should have done this, more time at home. And so I'm really looking forward to it, to cover all them little mistakes I made on the way. Do you know what I mean?
Bernard's got a chance to make a new start, which is something he didn't get with his second wife, Emma. Aged just 26, she suddenly and tragically died of a flu-related illness less than 6 months after they were married. One of Bernard's weekly rituals is to visit her grave.
As you can see, I'm not very good at flower arranging.
I was going to say that, yeah. I wouldn't book you a flower arranger though, Bernard, to be honest.
I used to come every other day, you know. But you've got to move on. She'd understand that, you know. You'll never forget her, you know. But you just got to get up and dust yourself down and get on with it, you know.
How long would you usually spend over here? Just sit here and just, you know?
Oh, when it first happened, I slept here a few times.
Really?
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I mean, 19 weeks. You know, she always used to joke, you know, when you were old, I'll slash your tyres and leave you in your wheelchair in the middle of nowhere, you know. But you just don't think she's going to die.
Bernard's in a reflective mood, and so I take my chance to question him further about his violent past.
From a very early age, as I say, my father was probably the most violent man I've ever known in my life. He was off his fucking head. And he wouldn't just beat you, he'd use weapons on you, you know what I mean? Mm. And you left the house just fucking your mind just turmoil. And when you saw happy kids, you really resented them, and you wanted to crush their happiness. And really? My daddy this and my daddy that, and you'd smash them. And then when you're at school, you'd get in trouble, and teachers couldn't understand why you're so violent, so disruptive, and you become a sort of outcast. You know what I mean? Mm. But that violence sort of stuck with me, and then inflicted it on lots of people. I've been in prison 4 or 5 times, but just for wounding, and I've been remanded a few times, but all for violence. You know what I mean?
In 1983, after he stabbed a man in a pub, Bernard went on the run.
I knew I was going to prison, and so I thought, move to Holland. because I'm out the jurisdiction of the police.
After a brief spell lying low in Holland's liberal city of sin, he headed for a place where he was drawn back into a world of violence.
We flew to South Africa, landed there, and the fucking first riots ever in Johannesburg kicked off.
South Africa in 1984 was at the peak of its violent and troubled history, with apartheid tearing the country apart. In Johannesburg, Bernard found work as a security guard on the door of a Greek nightclub on the city's notorious Murder Mile.
Dangerous place to go, though.
It is very, you're not like a doorman here. You have an handgun, you have a shotgun, all types of different weapons here.
Don't need a licence.
No, I ain't had a fucking holiday permit. The Murder Mile is exactly what it says on the tin. It's one of the most violent streets in the whole world. Everyone carried guns, everyone carried knives, and they're just fucking killing each other.
Following a fight with a Portuguese gang in the club, one of them followed Bernard home.
And then when I went home that evening, I was attacked by him and I was stabbed in the chest. And there was a bit of a fight in the lift and the Portuguese guy got hurt quite badly.
Bernard was arrested for the attack and once again found himself in prison.
It's a horrendous fucking place. They used to hang between 7 and 14 people a week.
Would they hang people in front of you, or was it one of them sort of...
Yeah, they'll put them in a lorry and you'll see them going down one end of the prison and then you'll see the lorry coming back and they're all fucking dead in the back of it.
As soon as he was granted bail, he fled the country on an emergency passport, taking the first available flight out. He found himself in Luxembourg, from where he travelled to France and then back on a ferry to the UK, where he was still wanted for the pub stabbing.
I had no proper passport, just a piece of paper saying from Joburg to England. And the customs man see me walking towards him, I just thought, I know he's going to tug me, I just know it. And he tugged me and I was in prison the same night because they got me for what I originally went on the run for.
But you was back in England though? I mean,
oh yeah, I was in Stafford prison and it was like being in the Hilton Hotel compared to what I'd been in.
You think you learnt stuff from being in prison? I mean, did it sort of shape you into a better man?
Well, I'd like to think that I learned stuff from every tragedy and every bit of shit you go through. You know what I mean? And prison was no different. But people who think it's clever, it's just soul destroying being in prison because you're locked up with complete fucking idiots.
Do you have any feelings of guilt, or from the people that you have hurt, people you've cut, people you've bottled? I mean, do you dwell on that at all? Or?
No, because it's just done business to me, and a few of the people I've had altercations with, I still haven't got. You know, some of them I think, you know, they're just worthless human beings. But there's others I genuinely do feel regret. I regret doing it. Do you know what I mean? And there's good and bad in all walks, isn't there? But I don't dwell on things. You know what I mean? It's like you just move on, get on with it. You know what I mean?
I've had 2 days with Bernard, and I've learnt that throughout his life, he's been constantly drawn to the criminal underworld. It's as if crime is the oxygen to his flame, and without it, I wonder if he would be able to exist. But questions still remain for me, blanks in this story that need to be filled. And most of them revolve around the place that I suspect shaped much of who Bernard is today. It's the county that I now call home, the birthplace of such varied and great British icons like Sir Alf Ramsey, Sam Fox, and the Escort XR3i. In the 1980s, Essex became synonymous with white stilettos, flash motors, and the aspirational working class. It had become the place East Londoners moved to when they'd made it, and that included its fair share of gangsters and villains. One of those was Bernard. It's where he met the Essex Boys.
I want to know how deep, how involved Bernard was with it all, you know?
I mean, was he just running the doors? Was he just another bouncer? Was he just another lump? You know, or was he really in with that firm? I mean, was he really, you know, involved with the drug side of things? And, you know, it's still quite a grey area for me. We're meeting in the tiny village of Rettendon, as far removed from the criminal underworld as you could imagine. But its quiet tranquility was shockingly disturbed one morning when the bodies of gangsters Tony Tucker, Craig Rolfe and Pat Tate were found in a blood-splattered Range Rover.
The 3 victims were shot in the Range Rover they'd been driven in, not to complete a drugs deal as they'd been led to believe, but to be killed by 2 rivals.
As we walked the quiet path where the men were found, I asked Bernard how he'd come to be involved with these men in the first place. I mean, was you involved with the drug side of it? Was you, you know, just on the door? I mean, how deep was you?
In 1986, I was released from prison and new beginning, new start. Jumped on a train and headed to Essex.
Once again, Bernard's wanderlust brought him back into contact with violence when he became a bouncer at Raquel's nightclub in Basildon.
At the time, it was like stilettos and fucking drunks, basically, you know what I mean? They're either trying to fuck each other or fight each other.
Yeah. But everything was about to change. Something arrived that revolutionised clubbing. And it wasn't headscarves. What it done is it changed clubbers. It changed, you know, what they was doing when they was in a club.
And the monsters turned into mice overnight, do you know what I mean? They were hugging each other and loving each other.
And the mice needed feeding. Now Bernard didn't have to worry about tear-ups and chucking people out. It was all about making money from ecstasy. He joined forces with Tony Tucker and they controlled the drug trade inside Raquel's.
I said, you know, you can have your bit on the side, the gear, and I'll run the door and we'll all be happy, do you know what I mean? Because it was a big club, it attracted like promoters, rave promoters, because they thought, oh, it's a peaceful club, Tucker runs it, everything will be sweet, all the drugs in it. It worked really well.
The drug business is a ruthless one. As Bernard was about to witness firsthand, Tucker and Tate were dangerous gangsters, with their fingers in all kinds of unsavoury pies.
Tate went into Canning Town, which you know very well because you're from there, and he robbed people in Canning Town, and it's just not a career move, you know what I mean? It's just not very clever, and they thought they were invincible, you know what I mean? Tate only went through people's doors one way, and that was just kick it off the hinges, barging, screaming, shouting, threatening people with guns, violence, just naked violence, you know what I mean? It's the only thing he knew, do you know what I mean? I went on expeditions to Bristol to shoot a guy. I went to Sunderland to kidnap 2 brothers. So it was like although everything was Essex based, they had sort of nationwide interests. You know, they were just vile human beings who destroyed families, destroyed people and wrecked their lives.
Things came to a head when 18-year-old Leah Betts became an unwitting anti-drugs poster girl. After taking an ecstasy tablet, she fell into a coma.
Police warned that they suspected the ecstasy tablet was contaminated with another substance.
The police believed that the type of pill she had taken was being sold in Raquel's. They approached Bernard about getting hold of one for analysis.
I've got this dilemma. Is it a dilemma? Not really. There's a young girl dying. Do I help her, or do I adhere to this bollocks mythical underworld code where you don't talk to the police, you don't grass, you don't do this, you don't... I knew they wouldn't be happy about it, but I said, I'll try and get you one. I said to the police, I'll try and get you one of these pills. Helps the girl, great, you know what I mean?
Bernard couldn't get his hands on one of the pills, but as far as the Essex Boys were concerned, he'd spoken to the police, and so he was a grass.
But when Tucker and Tate and the others heard that I'd so openly agreed to assist the police, that's when my phone started ringing, you know. We're going to fucking shoot you, we're going to fucking do you.
But just a few weeks later, Bernard wouldn't have to worry about any threats. Someone went after him, and they didn't miss.
There was about these killings a hard and ruthless edge which can only horrify and stagger the non-criminal mind.
According to Bernard, the Essex Boys had it coming. They'd pissed a lot of people off thanks to their antics that involved robbing other drug dealers.
And there's no hiding, no masks when they went to rob these people. And when a geezer loses 100 grand's worth of gear, it's going to come back on you, you know what I mean?
And he believes they were lured down the lane with a story of a plane loaded with drugs that was landing on this field. It was a lie. He explains that there were 2 gunmen, one who was in the car with them, the other waiting in the bushes.
The vehicle came in, went to the bottom of the lane, pulled up at a 5-bar gate.
Yes.
Gunman's accomplice walks to the front of the car pretending to get the gate. Instead of unlocking the gate, he actually bends down and picks the shotgun up. Meantime, his friends come out of the undergrowth to the open back door, just Rolf behind the ear in the back of the head. Just took her in the side of the face, shoots Tate in the liver. They didn't intend to kill him initially. He wanted him to witness the slaughter and say a few words to him. And then the other gunman went round to where Tate was sitting, put the gun in through the broken window into the back of his head, pulled the trigger and sent Tate to wherever we all go.
So if the killers were with them, they must have known them. Very well organised, wasn't it? Didn't take a lot of people.
Extremely well organised, yeah. I mean,
These are people that have done this many, many times before, isn't it, really?
They knew what they were doing.
Even though the murders happened 15 years ago, Bernard is still involved with the case. He's campaigning for the 2 men convicted of the crime. He believes Mick Steele and Jack Womes are innocent.
I mean, they got sentenced to 15 years. I mean, that's 15 years ago. I mean, surely they're due out. Are they?
Well, they won't accept their guilt, so they're not going to let them out while they're still protesting their innocence.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, they just.
Even though they've done their time
They
for
just
murder.
won't have it.
So they'll hold their hands up and say I'm guilty, and even if they're not, then they'll be allowed out.
That's how it should work, but I'm not sure it would in their case. You know what I mean?
Bernard thinks the old Bill got the wrong people. And at the time of the murders, he was being threatened by the men that were killed. He also seems to know a lot of details. It's got me thinking, could he have been involved? Coming up, I asked Bernard a difficult question.
I've got to ask you, Bernard, I mean, it's almost as if you're standing there watching it happen.
I've been living with Bernard Mahoney, a man whose life has been inextricably linked to violence and crime. We're in Essex, a place that has played a major role in Bernard's life. He's a former associate of Tony Tucker, Craig Rolfe and Pat Tate, who were murdered in one of Britain's most shocking gangland killings. I've learnt that he'd fallen out with the gang just before they were killed, and he's told me that he doesn't believe the men convicted are guilty. He also knows a hell of a lot of detail about the killings. He was arrested at the time on suspicion of the murders, so it's left me wondering.
I've got to ask you, Bernard, I mean, for me, you seem to know so much about it. I mean, it's almost as if you're standing there watching it happen. I mean, how do you know that this is how it took place? How do you know? I mean,
well, because
guesswork or what?
No. People talk, don't they? And you know, over the last 15 years, I've got a good idea of what happened. And if I knew who'd done it, I wouldn't tell, because I honestly think whoever did it did the world a favour. You know what I mean?
While he's in Essex, Bernard's come to see his daughter, Caris. She lives here with his first wife, Deborah.
Oh. I mean, how proud are you of your daughter?
I love her to bits.
It's a moment, isn't it?
They're both expensive creatures.
Cost you a bomb, does she?
Both of them, but they're worth it, isn't they?
He's clearly proud of his 21-year-old daughter, and I wonder how she feels about her dad.
What do you feel about the whole thing with the writing the letters to people like Sutcliffe and...
I just think if it helps like the parents of the kids in that out, or it helps them to be sent down, then fair enough.
If you can help, you will, won't you? And people don't like it, then bollocks to them, you know what I mean?
This whole criminal underworld thing, you know, for you, I mean,
Is it a professional interest? I mean, or is it a bit of an obsession you've got going on? Sort of like if you go into something, you give it 150% and, you know, you can become quite obsessed by it. Is that a fair comment to make?
I've never done anything by halves, you know what I mean? But I do get, if I get into something, I won't let it go, you know what I mean? And it's not always healthy. It's definitely not always healthy. But I have a real, I think my whole life's a contradiction, really. I've got this real sense of like injustice and, you know, want to right wrongs. But then I've been a complete arsehole in the past.
Something you're constantly battling with?
Definitely. I mean, you know, I have problems and my first thought is go and bash them, do you know what I mean? And like the beast resides within, you know what I mean? But you've just got to, as you get older, just think wise up, take a breath, stop, do the right thing. And sometimes when you've lived another life, doing the right thing's frowned upon by other people.
I came into this thinking that Bernard could be a grass and a fake. I've listened to his story, and I believe that he did what he felt he had to do. He lives by a complex code, which appears contradictory. On the one hand, he has roots in violent criminality, and on the other, he seeks to right injustices. It's not always easy to do the right thing, especially when people are looking to kill you for doing it.